I just talked for like 10 minutes and realized that this wasn't recording. Where? But maybe now it'll come out less rambly. So, hi. I am not a vlogger, but maybe I will be someday because I have these thoughts that I like to talk about. I want to talk about my month without Facebook because there were 3 different things that happened today where each one I was like, maybe I should activate Facebook quite soon. So I think I'm going to hop back on Facebook, and I wanted to reflect on the reasons why I got off of it before I'm back on. So yeah, instant hypocrisy disclaimer. If you are someone who doesn't know me very well and you're watching this, then you probably found it through my Facebook, and I'm about to talk about why we should examine our addiction to Facebook. So I'm a hypocrite. I said it, I know it. But hopefully by the end of this, hopefully we get to a place where I'm talking about how to find freedom within technology and not freedom from technology. I chose to examine my own addiction to social media after listening to 3 podcasts, which I'll put the links down below. Some of the reasons that I deleted or deactivated my Facebook were initially recognizing that I had an addiction. And in the Mind Rolling podcast, the woman, Nancy, describes this addiction really well. She talks about how it's almost funny to question, like, are we addicted to technology? Because as she is someone that has studied this for years now, the answer is a full-blown yes. The only reason that our society isn't freaking out and treating this addiction is because it's one where everyone has it. There is no person on the outside that can like shake you and confront you and say, oh my God, you have a problem, let's get you help, because we all have a problem and we all need help. Which, yeah, that's like, that resonates as true with me. And I think that if we were on this like little spectrum where this is maybe a bite from a bed bug, isn't that scary? This is your average 13-year-old girl who, checks social media 5,000 times a day, and this is your like stoner guy friend who only checks Facebook once a week and doesn't even have to try. He just like actually is above this addiction to technology, and you're so jealous. I think I'm like here. Like I'm not all the way over here. And I still have a massive addiction and had a massive problem. So yeah, I think that's one thing we need to do is talk about it, because I think that there's like some shame around acknowledging that you spend too much time on Facebook and that it doesn't make you happy, or whatever it is for you. You spend too much time on Instagram, or even if it's not social media, you have this like tick where you always check the weather on your phone, or you just use every free second. Every time you have a free moment, you're getting out your phone for some unknown reason. I think that is extremely common, and it's been funny telling people that like, oh yeah, no, I actually got off Facebook. I think I like kind of had a problem, and I'm just seeing how it feels to not have it, to not have Facebook. It was a little funny to notice people's reactions, because very few people were like, me too, I want to try that too. Most people were like, oh really? Like, I don't spend that much time on Facebook. And I'm just like, we don't need to be cool right now. Like, I've traveled with you before, and I see how much time you spend on Facebook, and you probably spend more than I even know, because you're probably checking it in your hostel bed at night, and I don't know it. Like here I am, like not being ashamed of being a person that has been raised in this world that has given me this addiction. Like it's okay. We don't need to be ashamed of this. So that's been bizarre. But Yeah, so this woman Nancy talks about the addiction, I think, in a way that everyone can be like, oh yeah, we are all addicted, and there's just no one on the outside that can save us, or not that can save us, but that can like, snap, say, wake up. So we need to shake ourselves. She also compares it to like an alcoholic. They can avoid bars or places that they know they are going to encounter alcohol when they're trying to recover. We can't really do that. We can't avoid people on their phones. We can't avoid Wi-Fi. I live in Thailand without a data plan, and I'm doing just fine because there's Wi-Fi everywhere. I see monks on their iPhones like all the time, and I'm not just saying that to be dramatic. So yeah, there's not a lot of places where we can escape. So it's up to us to shake ourselves. I have some statistics that I wrote down to help shake us. If there was a CNN article that says teenagers in the United States spend an average of 9 hours a day on various forms of media. What? 9 hours a day? Oh my god. And that the average 13-year-old in the US checks their social media account around 100 times a day. Oh my god. And this was from the podcast. I really hope these aren't true. We live in the world of fake facts and stuff, so I don't know. I didn't take this with a grain of salt or whatever, but reporting what I've heard, I heard that 1 in 5 millennials checks their phone during sex. 1 in 10 of all Americans do this. And 1 in 3, I believe this is millennials, 1 in 3 millennials, would give up sex for a certain period of time before giving up their phone. Oh my god, this is a problem. We have an addiction. Okay, so that's point 1. Get across that we have an addiction. The next part of this podcast that really spoke to me was when this woman was talking about how she has all these encounters. She's a therapist. She has all these encounters with like middle-aged adults who are coming to her with the same problem of not feeling like they're having a ton of meaning in their lives. And there's a really nice phrase. What is it? That are dependent on iPhones and pictures and connection kind of denies the ephemeral nature of life. So all these people being like, no, I've had meaningful experiences. Like, look, I have all this proof. Like, bam, bam, bam. Look, I've lived. And they're not experiencing it, she says, on the cellular level because you're a little bit removed when you're just taking a picture. And this is also all about balance. I'm not saying throw your phones away, throw your cameras away. I love taking pictures, but maybe just examine how you're using them, how much you're using them, and to just report this information that I heard, that there are lots of people coming to this therapist with the same problem. We feel almost guilty about the fact that we are struggling to find meaning in our lives when we clearly have meaningful lives. Look at all these pictures of my daughter's birthday and blah, blah, blah. Like, why does that not connect with what I really feel when I'm being honest? So that really struck me as like, yeah, we love proof, we love pictures, and maybe that's kind of getting in the way of the amount of meaning that we feel. And then that led to her next point about we are using social media platforms as a way to like build our brand and feed our own narcissism, which would also make your life feel less meaningful. If you're putting a lot of your identity into this 2D version of yourself, how does the 3D version of yourself feel? It's a little complicated. We're already at 10 minutes, but I'm going to tell a quick little story of people in my family thinking that I died because I deleted my Facebook. And if you're watching this, family members, I've talked to all of you about this separately, but it was fully my fault for not telling you ahead of time, and I felt so loved. I feel so loved and cared about, and I appreciate your reaction. It speaks a lot to how much you care about me, so thank you. But for the sake of examining the way that we think about technology, it's interesting that although it is highly irrational, if I got kidnapped in Thailand, the last thing my kidnapper would do would be delete my Facebook. If anything, it would be much scarier if I didn't post for a while or wasn't answering anyone's messages, right? So if I was in any form of danger, if I had gotten in an accident, if you go through all the potential things that could have happened, in none of those situations would my Facebook have gotten deleted because of the bad thing. But my family members still had the very real experience of loss. Like, they still, they see that I'm gone online, that my online identity was not there, and they had a very real feeling of loss. Like, part of Anne is gone. And in the 30 minutes it took me to answer an email and say that I was alive and fine and wanted a little break from Facebook, like, yeah, everyone assumed I was just like dead and people were booking tickets out here. And again, I feel so loved and I'm so sorry. I'm the worst. I've apologized a million times, I swear. But yeah, we're doing a little bit of confusing. Like, everyone, this is not my family. I think the world is pretty quick to confuse the, like, filtered, glossed over version of ourselves that we portray online with ourselves, with our being, with our real, flawed, like, 3D selves. A sentence that was really nice was, "Nothing to do is a nutrient-dense place for the imagination." So that makes me want to hop into something that I think everyone should do. It does not take deleting your Facebook. No, it does not take deleting your Facebook. I carried around a bunch of little slips of paper like this, and every time after I deleted my Facebook, deactivated, whatever, every time that my thumbs went to my phone to kind of check my non-existent Facebook, I paused and wrote down exactly what was happening in that moment. And you don't need to delete your Facebook to do that. Every time that you want to click on your phone, even if you do end up going on your Facebook after you write one little sentence, you can still track the emotion you were having or how you were physically feeling or what was going on in the moment, which is so interesting. So most of mine got like crumpled up and lost, but I'll read you a few from these. Things like, I want to go click on my phone when I want a distraction because I wanted to write an email asking for a reference letter. And I'm like, that's freaking uncomfortable. I hate asking for help. Phone. When I was tired of grading papers, when I was waiting for 30 seconds, when I was out of ideas to make a lesson better, when I finished something. That I noticed all the time. I'd finish a whole class of papers and I'd be like, phone, like, not satisfy me, like, reward me, like, I finished a task. I'm wanting a break from grading papers. That's on their chores. I guess I don't like grading papers. When I was tired, when I don't want to be productive anymore. When I'm bored from a must-do task at work, when I'm tired, when I'm yawning, when I don't know where to begin with something, a lot of times it was out of muscle memory, when I'd be like, I'm trying to get to my email, but my fingers typed an F. And then I can address the causes for going on Facebook rather than just being like, oh, why am I on Facebook? Get off Facebook. I'm the worst. I'm addicted. One quote that was nice is, "It is striking how the way we find peace is by turning inward. That's what all of spiritual practice is finding oneself as the destination. And yet, everything we are doing with technology is teaching us to say, what else? What am I missing? What else could I be doing anywhere but just myself? This tool, this smartphone, this screen is an ally for a fundamental fear that we, without filling, are nothing." So then she just talked a lot about, like, yeah, are you filling your life to get to the end of it without having to meet any empty space? Are we filling all of our empty space with this, like, stimulating phone? And which led people to feeling like there wasn't that much meaning in their life. Overall, though, review from a more personal place, I'll make this short, is that during this month I felt much more intimately connected to much fewer people, which was really nice. I also felt insanely productive, almost like replacing my addiction to technology to my addiction to productivity. Um, yeah, I just had a lot more mental energy to spend on tasks. I slept better. I definitely really did sleep better. Not because even if you're like, oh, I turn off my phone, an hour before bed, I wasn't really on my phone like 3 hours before bed. There's a point for me at least where I don't really need to check emails after 5 p.m. I don't watch things on Netflix because I don't, and yeah, so I wasn't really near a screen anytime before bed. So that was really great. I read a lot more books. I read really good books. Ask me what books I read, and we can talk about books, but I won't waste time on here. And, but I guess the overall point is that if you can kind of remove any poison from your relationship with Facebook, I think it is more useful to have than to not have. So yeah, to be able to connect with people online, people that either aren't in your life right now or someone that you just met traveling or someone like that where the connection hasn't been like fully explored yet, but it's like a potential connection because it's a Facebook friend that you don't know very well or have gotten some distance from. That's really useful to stay connected with that person. And if you can have a Facebook and check it once a week, if you can be on your phone or on social media or on Instagram or whatever your thing is, and break that muscle memory, stop your thumbs from going every time that you have free time, then that's really useful. So another thing that I forgot to say about my month was I just like hung out more. When I was waiting for a meal, I just kind of look around and be there, and I ended up having the strangest conversations with people that I would have thought didn't speak a word of English, and strange in a good way, like strange as in like funny, bizarre, Thailand strange. So yeah, just kind of hanging out and having nothing to do and expecting nothing and just being there with your eyes open and up. A lot of the time you don't connect with people because everyone else is on their phone, but there were some nice moments in this month where there were some other people not on their phones also waiting for their meal, and those moments were really special. Yeah, I feel like I repeated myself and I've been really redundant throughout this. But if you take anything away, I recommend that everyone starts making lists like this. Have a little journal on you all the time. Do it for a week. Set some certain amount of time that you know you can achieve the goal. Say for 2 days, every single time that I want to check Facebook, I'm gonna write down what was happening. Maybe you notice that you're like hungry all the time. It might be totally different than mine. It's just really useful information for you to have about yourself to make your life better. And I recommend everyone does that. I also recommend everyone deactivates their Facebook for a minute because it's so easy to get it back. Facebook wants us addicted. Facebook wants us there so badly. So you can delete your Facebook for 1 week, for 2 weeks, for 2 days and see how it feels. And to get it back, all you do is type in your password and boom, your profile is exactly as it was. So it's a no risk situation. All you can do is learn. You might hate it. You might say, Anne's a big dummy. Facebook rocks and I don't have an addiction, blah, blah, blah. But you might learn some stuff. Okay, if you watched this, you're probably so sweet and kind for being intrigued in my ramblings for 20 minutes. Yeah. So ask me any questions, tear me apart for anything you disagree with. I just have these opinions that I like to talk about. Maybe I'll start like going in with a concise plan too, and maybe I'll become a video blogger because I really enjoy this for some reason. But I'll stop rambling now. Okay. Peace and love from Thailand.